Thank you. Thank you all for asking me to be here. It's a great honor to know that I had some impact with you all that way. So first off, I'd like to extend a congratulations to the entire class here. Completing this class is a huge accomplishment, and this graduation marks a great transition to a wonderful career for all of you. And again, I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to be here. It's certainly an honor. I'll do my best to keep it inspiring and not too long, and maybe deliver some valuable words of wisdom. So this is the first time that I've spoken at a commencement ceremony since my own high school graduation. It was a long time ago. The theme of that night dealt with the definition of commencement. And while many of the people here consider commencement to mark the end of an educational era, to commence actually means to begin. So while you've now formally completed your educational training, you're just beginning the journey of your career. And you'll find there's so much more learning ahead of you, as I have. Shortly after having been asked to give this address, I began to brainstorm about a topic that might be inspiring and informative and maybe even a little entertaining. And I ultimately decided to share some lessons that I've learned since starting my own cardiology career about a decade ago. So when I was growing up, there was a book called All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, which many of you might be familiar with. It provides some of the life tenets that we really should all embrace. Some of my favorite quotes include things like say you're sorry when you hurt someone, live a balanced life, learn some, drink some, draw and paint some, sing and dance and play and work some, and when you go out into the world, watch out for traffic, hold hands and stick together. So essentially these quotes are reminding us to be nice, to live a balanced life between work and activities that we enjoy, and to make sure we maintain important relationships. While we should all keep these words of advice in mind, I learned through my own experiences that there actually are more things that I needed to know, and I decided to share some of those with you. My first lesson is that it pays to be nice, and that was one of the things reinforcing one of the quotes in that book. Be nice and respectful to everyone that you encounter. When you run into people at work, whether it be a colleague, a physician, a nurse, or even another employee that you just run into, smile and ask them how their day was. It won't only make you feel good about yourself, but will really earn your respect no matter where you are. I can't tell you how many patients have been referred to me from people around the hospital simply because they think I'm easy to talk to, and I hope they think I'm a good doctor as well. But people like to be acknowledged, and they like to be engaged, and they really love a good listener. Those are my first words of advice. The second words are to pay it forward, and that's a phrase we've heard a lot lately, but I'm not just talking about buying someone a cup of coffee behind you at Starbucks. There was a quote that I came across recently which read, I want to inspire people. I want someone to look at me and say, because of you, I didn't give up. And we all have someone or multiple people in our lives who have helped us to get to where we are. For me, it was the program director of my internal medicine residency program. He was instrumental in planting the seeds of my success early on. He saw something in me he thought was special. During my second year of my residency, he chose me to be the resident to lead his team, later asked me to be a chief resident, and wrote me glowing letters of recommendation when I applied for my cardiology fellowship. Without him believing in me and without his inspiration, I would not be where I am. I continue to think of this often, and in fact, I just recently sent him an email letting him know how appreciative I continue to be for him having taken me under his wing. So we can all be that person to a lot of different people. I try to pay it forward now by educating people like you, medical students, nurse practitioner students, and even high school and college students. And I try to be active in the community, volunteering for the Heart Association. I've had the opportunity since I've been a cardiologist to write countless letters of recommendation for people, and I really still try to put the same effort to those as my program director did for me. So ultimately, if you have the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, which I'm sure you all will, take advantage of it. You'll find that it's extremely gratifying. On that same note, and this was alluded to earlier on, remember that we've all been students. So just because you're finishing, remember that you always have an opportunity to teach. Remember to be patient. Try to think back to your first day of your first month of training. We all know that beginning in the cath lab, no one's adept at any of those procedures. And it's much more gratifying, it's much more beneficial to learn in a supportive environment. So I've, during my own fellowship experience, the best and the worst of people in the cath lab. One of them, you mentioned, wrote a textbook. So it was because of these experiences that shaped how I am today in the cath lab, and as I hope most of you can attest, I try to be pretty patient in there. One of the most important pieces of advice I have is to learn to adapt. So I'm not one that's typically big on quotes, but I like some of the ones that I came across. So there was one by Benjamin Franklin which read, "When you're finished changing, you're finished." And one by Charles Darwin, who said, "It's not the strongest or the most intelligent person who will survive, but those who can best manage change." So when I finished med school, I assumed I'd be like every other doctor I knew. I'd be my own boss, I'd have my own practice. We all have this perception that when we finish our training, we know everything we need to know about our profession, and that all the systems in place around us are going to be static. But that's not true. The landscape of medicine is always changing. It's always evolving. And you'll find that challenges and change are really the only constant that you'll encounter. For me personally, when I finished my fellowship, I came down here to join a large group, but shortly after I came down, the group split up, and I became a member of a second group, and ultimately I became an employee of the hospital. So I'm now an employee in a larger corporation, and far from what I thought I was going to be when I came out of medical school or even fellowship. But like I said, adaptation is the key, and my own career has personified that. Other things that have changed dramatically since I've been here, when I started we were using paper charts and dictating on a phone, and over the years I've gone through several iterations of electronic medical records and numerous billing systems, and on an even larger scale, the whole Medicare reimbursement system is changing, and we're all having to get used to being measured on quality and not just billing for the procedures that we do and the patients that we see. And all of these changes don't even take into account all the guideline changes that take place very frequently in the field of cardiology due to ongoing clinical trials. So the point is, the expectations should be that your career, that your future, they're moving targets. So embrace this as a challenge and prepare yourselves to be ready. And finally, to make sure you take care of yourselves. So every day I continue to see people in the medical profession who neglect their own health while they're trying to save others. And it's very ironic. If you want to continue to thrive in your occupation and your life, you have to take care of yourselves. Make an effort to eat well and exercise, get enough sleep, spend time with family, friends, spouses, and significant others. And these are simple suggestions, but they'll make you mentally, emotionally, and physically stronger and will contribute to your long-term success and happiness. So in conclusion, I hope you all appreciate what a great accomplishment it is for you to be here today. Take time to savor the moment and enjoy your achievements. Embrace the challenges that face you in your career as you have done in school, and you'll all be very successful. I hope I was able to provide some meaningful words of wisdom from my own experiences, and it's now time for you to start gathering your own life lessons. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you so much, Dr. Taschner. It's really obvious why the students chose you for their ceremony. Great words of advice. So thank you so much.